And you're very much welcome around. We have Professor Aki Iwayemi, a fellow of the Nigerian Economic Society and the 38th president of and council of the Nigerian Economic Society. Could we have you rise? Thank you so much, sir. It's a privilege to have you here. We'd also like to recognize the presence of Professor Mike Obadan, a fellow of the Nigerian Economic Society, also a former president of the Nigerian Economic Society. And then we also have Professor Olu Ajakaye, the fellow of the Nigerian Economic Society and former president of the Nigerian Economic Society. It's a privilege to have you here, sir. We also have Professor Mutiu Oyinlola, Chief Economist of the Bank of Industry. It's a pleasure to... Can we give a round of applause, please? Thank you.
Right, before I invite the chairperson of the LOC to come for her welcome address, we also have the privilege of having with us in our presence the 43rd president of the Nigerian Economic Society and the immediate past president, none other than Professor Ummu Ahmed Jalungu. You're welcome, ma'am. Thank you for joining us. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for the welcome address, please join me in welcoming Mrs. Chinoyinum Ndidi, the chairperson of the LOC, as she comes forward. Please put your hands for her, put your hands together for her as she comes forward. All right, we'll revisit that as soon as she's... back. Mr. Chairman, sir, apologies for jumping protocol, but at this time, we'll have to welcome the president of the Nigerian Economic Society for his welcome remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, economists in the house who have traveled all the way to Abuja from far and near, please join me in welcoming Professor Adeola Adenikiju as he comes forward. Please don't stop clapping until he gets here.
Thank you very much. Thank you so very much. Great economist. Greatest economist. Good morning. The chairman of today's occasion, the former Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, Dr. Shamsuddin Usman, CON, OFR, FNES. Senior government officials, distinguished fellows of the Nigerian Economic Society, esteemed members of council, the director of the African Development Institute, Dr. Eric Ogunleye, distinguished awardees, staff, and participants from the African Development Institute, our new inductees, gentlemen of the press, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure and delight to welcome you all to this induction and awards ceremony, the opening event of our 66th annual conference of the Nigerian Economic Society. Today's gathering is a moment of celebration, reflection, and renewal of our shared commitment to advancing the economic profession and economic policy in Nigeria. In particular, I would like you to join me in welcoming our guests from the African Development Institute, who are attending this conference from about 30 different African countries. Please, can we just welcome them? Thank you very much. So you are welcome to Nigeria. Please do enjoy your stay in Abuja, Nigeria. This morning, we will induct new members into the society, both as associate members and full members, thereby expanding the intellectual family of our society. You are joining a distinguished community of scholars, practitioners, and policymakers who for nearly 7 decades have shaped Nigeria's economic thought and practice. If memory serves me right, this is also the first time that new members will be inducted at a NES conference like this. Thank you very much. We will also bestow the highest honor of our society, the fellowship of the Nigerian Economic Society, on a few distinguished Nigerians today and tomorrow, Okay, so later today, from 3 o'clock in the banquet hall, we're going to be welcoming, we're going to be conferring awards and fellowship on some distinguished Nigerians. Ladies and gentlemen, between 1956 and now, only 1957 and now, when this society started, only 74 individuals have ever been admitted as fellows of the Nigerian Economic Society. Of this number, these 74 people, more than 30 have passed on, leaving us just 44 fellows alive today. And among these 44, only 6 of them are women. This fact underscores both the rarity and the immense prestige of the fellowship of the NES. To be recognized as a fellow is not only a mark of intellectual distinction, but also a call to continue service to society and to the nation. Today's awardees, who will be revealed later on when we are doing that from 2 o'clock, include 3 women, include political leaders, very senior government officials, academia, international diplomats, and captains of industry. These men and women have been carefully chosen for their contributions to economic policy making, the advancement of the economic profession, and also their contribution to the society. We have been deliberate in including all the important segments of the NES. This is part of our commitment, part of the commitment of our administration over the last 2 years, to make our society more inclusive, more participatory, and reflective of the various stakeholders within it. Our society must embrace changes. We must be more open. We must be dynamic and inclusive. We must provide opportunities for every member to attain the highest level possible in society if they work hard, if they have served the society diligently and meritoriously, and have promoted the advancement of society and the economics profession. Today is also an occasion to recognize and celebrate excellence, dedication, and impact across multiple domains of financial life. In line with our tradition, we are deliberate and careful in bestowing these honors, ensuring that they go only to the most deserving individuals and institutions. There are several award categories that we have today that we're going to be celebrating. We have the Distinguished Public Service Awards and Corporate Performance Awards. These awards honor Nigerians, organizations excel in service to the nation and in corporate leadership. We also have Economic Journalist of the Year, recognizing the vital role of the media in shaping public understanding of economic issues. We also have what we call the President's Special Awards for Public Economic Service. Here we acknowledge contributions to economic policy making. Then we have the Best NES Chapter Awards. Okay, one of the achievements that we've recorded in the last 2 years is to actually have state chapters. And some of these state chapters have been doing extremely very well, in terms of vibrancy and in terms of linking with the various states where they operate. So later on today, we'll be revealing the best rates, chapters, who deserve, special recognition. And then also this morning, we're going to have what we call the PADTC's Award. And since last year, we're not just giving these awards, we want the 3 finalists to also make presentations on what they are working on or what they've worked on. So later, after the induction, the 3 finalists are going to make presentations from their thesis so that we can understand what the contributions that they have made. Then we also have the President's Medal Award for Meritorious Service to the NES and the NES Service Awards, roll calls, which will pay tribute to those who have served the society since 1999. We also have what we call the Lifetime Achievement Awards. This award started last year. This is reserved for those whose life's work has left an indelible mark on society and on the nation's economic development. And of course, we have the Sponsors Awards, recognizing the indispensable role of our partners in sustaining the work and vision of the NES. Ladies and gentlemen, every awardee of today has gone through a thorough scrutiny of the Governing Council of the Society. I therefore congratulate you and welcome you to society. To all our inductees and awardees, the society belongs to you. You must own it and be ready to promote the ideas of our society. We all have a commitment to our nation As the NDS anthem states, we must promote intellectual leadership. We also count on your support to make the NAS to be stronger. As I round up, I want to deeply appreciate our partner, the African Development Institute, for this partner collaboration between the Nigerian Agrarian Society, the Institute, and the bank. We thank you for believing in us. My special regard also goes to the chairman of today's occasion, who also is the deputy chair of the College of Fellows and Past Presidents, our highly esteemed Dr. Shamsudeen Usman. Thank you very much, sir, for your research support for the council and for the society. Our distinguished fellows, we are grateful for your continued service to the society. We pray for good health and wisdom as we age. Thank you so very much for your support, sirs. To the chairman of the LOC, the various subcommittees, we thank you for putting this conference together. We pray that the Lord will bless you mightily. And to the state chapters, thank you for your support. We also want to thank our students, NESA and AGES. Incidentally, NESA is also celebrating its 14th annual conference, which coincides with this conference, and they are holding it together with us. We believe that these students are the future of the society and the nation, and therefore it's very good deliberately that they become part of what you are doing. To understudy 500 students. Thank you so very much for what you have been doing. We have now the female professionals, the female economists, the women wing of the Nigerian Economic Society, and they have been doing exceedingly well, exceedingly extraordinary. I thank you for your leadership, man. Most importantly, I want to appreciate and welcome all our distinguished NDS members. Those of you who have distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as we induct new members and recognize excellence today, we are not only honoring the past, but we are also building for the future. These inductions and awards reinforce the values of rigor, integrity, service, and that of the I welcome.
Thank you. Have so thank you very much. The and okay, my apologies, Professor Honorable, the vice, I believe, of chancellor. Sorry, chancellor of the Ignatius Ajuru University. Sure, we Wale of the so before today's welcome our welcome address. Thank you very much.
This house, by the time I was called, I ought to have spoken before the president. Please, my fellows, past presidents, council members, kindly bear with us. We're trying to do something better. Thank you very much. This is a welcome address by the chairman, LOC, Lady Shinoye Lumundidi. LMNES, at the 66th Annual Conference of the Nigerian Economic Society, holding now. Okay, thank you. The President and Executive Council of the Nigerian Economic Society, the fellows and past presidents, distinguished key speakers and panelists, representatives of government and policy institutions, members of the academia, development partners, and captains of industry, esteemed delegates, ladies and gentlemen, and the press in particular. On behalf of the local organizing committee, it is my singular honor and privilege to warmly welcome you all to the 66th Annual Conference of the Nigerian Economic Society. We are deeply delighted to host this distinguished gathering of scholars, policymakers, professionals, and thought leaders who share a common commitment to advancing the economic development of Nigeria, Africa, and indeed the global community. This year's theme, Rethinking Africa's Development, Pathways to Economic Transformation and Social Inclusion in a Changing Global Economic Landscape, could not be more timely. The continent is blessed with abundant natural resources, a vibrant youthful population, and expanding regional integration frameworks such as the African Continental Free Trade Area. Yet, we also face structural challenges, dynamics, amongst others. This conference is therefore an opportunity to interrogate old paradigms, explore innovative policy options, and identify practical strategies for transforming Africa's economies in ways that are inclusive, sustainable, and globally competitive. For over 6 decades, the Nigerian Economic Society has remained at the forefront of generating evidence-based research and providing policy-relevant insights that inform Nigeria's economic planning and decision-making. This 66th Annual Conference continues in that proud tradition, bringing ideas and practice. I wish to extend our deep appreciation to the President and Executive Council of the Nigerian Economic Society, the College of Fellows, and most importantly, for their leadership and vision. Special thanks also go to our distinguished keynote speakers, resource persons, panelists, who have graciously accepted to share this expertise. We also acknowledge the invaluable support of our sponsors, partners, institutions who made this conference possible. And above all, we thank you, members of the Nigerian Economic Society, our delegates, for making the time to be here, whether physically or virtually. I also thank the state chapters, ably led by Dr. Fitri, Dr. Justin Amese. These are participants. The task before us at this moment is enormous, but not insurmountable. Let us approach the discussions at this conference with open minds, bold ideas, and a collective resolve to chart realistic pathways of Africa's economic transformation and social inclusion. On this note, it is my honor to welcome you all once again to this 66th annual conference of the Nigerian Economic Society. I wish you fruitful deliberations and most rewarding experience. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you very much for that, Ma. Please put your hands together for her one more time. In a few moments from now, I'll be calling on the President one more time for the induction of the new members of the Nigerian Economic Society. But before we do that, when the chairperson of the LOC was speaking, she mentioned some of the distinguished people who have chosen to sponsor us either personally or through their various organizations. Now, I know that we are economists and we are very serious people, but when I call these following organizations, please give them a rousing round of applause. They might not be here physically to see us clap for them, but when they will watch the videos, they will know that indeed we appreciated their help and their effort. Now, the list is quite comprehensive, so I won't call the entire thing, but for these following people, let's please put our hands together for them. One, the African Development Bank Institute. Please put your hands together for them. Next, we have the Central Bank of Nigeria. Please put your hands together for them. I think the better you clap, the more money they will give us for the conference next year. Who knows? We might have this conference in the UK next year, and the flights will be paid for by the African Development Bank. Just saying. So next, we have the Bank of Industry. We have ECOWAS, as well as the Federal Ministry of Finance. When we come back after the short breaks that we'll have, we'll be calling on more sponsors and appreciating them. For the large contingent that has come from the African Development Institute, I'd like all of you to please rise up for proper recognition as we appreciate you. So ladies and gentlemen, please could you rise? Thank you all for coming. For those of you who speak French, bienvenue Nigeria too. For those of you who speak Portuguese, bem-vindos to Nigeria. Sorry, my Portuguese is non-existent, so I just learned all of this on ChatGPT. And for those of you who speak Arabic, Ahlan bikun fi Nigeria. At least that one, I went to Arabic school for a little while. All right, I'll be recognizing the presence of the following people. Professor Sharifdin Tella is with us this morning. Thank you very much for joining us. He is a former vice president of the Nigerian Economic Society and a professor of economics at Babcock University, Ilishan Remo, Enugu State. Next, we have a former vice president also of the Nigerian Economic Society, former first president of Edo State Nest Chapter, and the chairman of the Nigerian Economic Society Female Professionals. She is none other than Professor Messi Ada Ainwe. You're welcome, ma'am. Third on this list, we have Professor Aliyu Rafende Isanusi. He's the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Advancement, Research and Innovation at Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. Could you please rise up for recognition? Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I'll call on the stage one more time our distinguished 44th President and Chairman of Council for the induction of the new members. I apologize for that, Mr. Chairman, sir. Before the President comes up for the induction of the new members, we'll take the opening remarks by the Chairman of the event. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, if your hands are not too tired, please join me in welcoming Dr. Shamsuddin Usman, CON, OFR, and a Fellow of the Nigerian Economic Society. Please keep putting hands together as he comes forward.
Mr. President of the Nigerian Economic Society, the council members, members of the College of Fellows and past presidents, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to show our young ones that we, the older ones, are also tech savvy. So I'm using my phone for the presentation, but also to show you that age can also make a difference. I have a hard copy here. In case this one fails me. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is with a profound honor and deep nostalgia that I stand before you today as chairman of this momentous day one of our 66th annual conference. Nearly 4 decades ago, I had the privilege of serving as president of this distinguished society, and witnessing its remarkable evolution fills me with both pride and optimism for our profession's future. When I reflect on the journey of the Nigerian Economic Society since its inception, I'm struck by the consistency of our mission to advance economic knowledge, influence policy, and develop the next generation of economic thinkers. Today, as we gather for our induction fellowship, recognizing excellence, nurturing talent, and celebrating achievement. The theme of our 2025 conference, Towards a Nigerian Developmental State, Lessons, Levers, and Leadership, cannot be more timely. It speaks to the fundamental questions that have occupied economies for generations. Some of these questions are: how do we build institutions that foster sustainable development? How do we harness economic knowledge for national transformation? Today's proceedings are particularly significant for 3 reasons. Our 4 minds who will select. Secondly, we celebrate fellowship, recognizing demonstrated exceptional commitment to economic scholarship and practice, elevating them to the height of our profession. And we honor through our awards program, acknowledging outstanding contributions in public service, journalism, and institutional that have advanced economic understanding and policy in Nigeria. Of course, we still face a number of but challenges and opportunities. As well as achievements, we must acknowledge the complex economic situation, grappling with inflation, unemployment, sector deficits, and the objective of economic diversification. Yet, challenges lie tremendous opportunities for our to lead, innovate, and influence meaningful. Today, it is through their PhD thesis, distinguished service recognition, or lifetime achievement present hope. They demonstrate that rigorous analysis, ethical practice, and dedicated service indeed make a difference in our national development journey. To our new employees, I charge you to embrace not of membership, but its realities, economically and discipline. For your research, your policy recommendations, engagements can shape the Nigeria of tomorrow. I cautionary, however, don't get by Justin Hugh, titled How Economics Lost Its Soul. He posits that universities who models but don't understand the economy. The report by Hugh is focused on 16 prestigious UK universities. The economics discipline is in a. It finds that the economic curriculum in the UK places more focus on students to think like rather than providing them with an understanding of how the economy actually works. Now, if you can see of economics in the UK, top UK universities, I'm sure it's probably the same or worse in Nigerians to the economic problem, but it is not. And I will tell you about experience. The second tip I have inductees and other is a critical point I made in the book title published in the book by me, published in July 2024, titled Public Policy and Age. When I was secretary, I focused on all of Nigeria's problems. Extensive experience of top-level policy making in Nigeria's public sector, however, I have come to the inevitable. Unless we address the politics in Nigeria, will be. I recall back in 1980, my head very hot with a PhD in the School of Economics, teaching in ABU. I thought back not only like Nigeria's economic problems, but the world's economics. And unfortunately, that economics has that economists have to with attention the policy and the society. We look on the other social science because we have all these models, mathematics. We do example my friend was appointed Minister of Finance. The first engagement you assembly of the year the medium-term expenditure framework. So I thought, you know, PhD in economics. I gathered a group of economists. Some of you are here. The people we developed a model of the Nigerian economy. I was trying to show them that every little naira that you approve in one area, in terms of employment, on GDP, and that. In terms of, I went around several committees of them, making a presentation, trying to, I thought I was educated, just sitting like this. Back, some of them was wrong grammar. All of them, most of how much is it for me in terms of say, how much allow me to pilot it. I can with money out. That's what was their interest. You know, again, I mean, to realization. If anything done at all, it's not knowing them, but you have to that understand politics first and be going to get any. We suggest that and awareness. Your recognition today comes with the expression of continued leadership. I extend heartfelt is a cordial. I have to look. That the insurance had by late not meticulous planning. Our President Professor Adeni Kijo, thank you for leadership. To all our sponsors, partners, and participants, your support makes to the recognition of time achievements. Let us remember not merely a ceremony, thought and practice in Nigeria. The in no small on the quality of economic analysis, the soundness of policy recommendations, integrity of economic from institutions like economics. Mark, but recommitment to excellence and to the whole equal Nigeria principles. My honor and pleasure to declare this annual conference officially open, and I look forward to meaningful recognition. Thank you very much.
Seats, please keep clapping. So much. I thank our corporation. Thank you so much for making this wonderful gathering. I would also like to recognize the presence of Dr. Tade Fadari, Executive and Managing Director of Nigeria Sovereign. For him, your hands, sir. All right, thank you very much. On to the most significant moment of this gathering and members of the Economic Society, and to lead this ceremony, we have the inviting President of the NES, whose unwavering dedication and vision has continued steering the organization life. So I will all give a very robust Professor stay and lead this. Thank you very
much. Looking, the chairman, there's no point, so, for example, use that. I know at that time where I was okay with this one. And this one also. Today we want to it's significant for us as we induct. So if you are here for the induction for your feet, wherever you are, those who are to be inducted. Very much. Please, you can have a seat. You we are inducted, as the chairman has said, for doing is strengthening community mind development of our society. Let me remind you, society is one of the best programs as Nigeria. This society was in 1957 by Nigerian scholars, Nigerian academics, social scientists to provide intellectual leadership in the process of understanding and managing economic, social, and political change in Nigeria. The Constitution of the Society was adopted in January 1958. The first seminar in 1958 in London, published in organ, this in 1958. And since 1957, the society has been led by many of them you are seeing here today. The late professors Ojetuja Pius Okigbo, E.C. Dozien, Chief Philip Siodo, Chief Oshekelu, Dr. Professor Biajayi, and many of our past presidents. Economics is not just a field of study, backbone of societal development. And as practicing and emerging economists, you hold the key to unlocking the potentials of the economy. In Nigeria and Africa at large, your insight will help shape this, drive opportunities for Nigerians and Africans. We are living in a time of unprecedented opportunities. The economy is vastly influenced by technological advancement and pressing environmental concerns. Nigeria stands at the crossroads of this. As new members of Nigerian society, now a part of a community that is dedicated to understanding and addressing these complex issues. The Nigerian has a long-standing program of research, dialogue, and policy formulation in economic development. As a platform for economists to collaborate, and contribute to the advancement of economic science in Nigeria. And network with the national, share the latest field of economics. To this society, you are normally joining a profession, you are embracing the responsibility of this. You are committed to the values of intellectual excellence. Contribute actively research through dialogue and collaboration. The challenges of time and solutions. So society energy, the ability of your generation to engage and build between theory and practice. Full advice society provides to participate to public a platform to serve and to lead. On behalf of the Council of the Nigerian Economic Society, I call all to this community of scholars, a more prosperous and an Africa takes its rightful place in the global economy. Please come out and you this oath. I'm going to the chairman.
Sorry, man. Sorry, you can't. It's okay when you are. It's okay here. You can't block.
Yeah. Please, can we put our hands together, members? Take this oath for the society before presidents and fellows of the society, before the council and members of the Nigerian Economic Society. So you're going to repeat after me, and where I say you then you put your name. I solemnly pledge to uphold the values and standards of the society. I commit to conduct myself with integrity, honesty, and professionalism, to conduct knowledge and growth within economic, to apply my skills and expertise to the society, to respect and support my colleagues, to trust and confidence placed by the highest the Nigerian Economic Society, striving to make a positive impact in endeavors. So help me God. Congratulations. Of the Nigerian Economic Society. So I want
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll have one general split these into groups. But the pictures include the council members and distinguished ladies. So, your picture Thank you. Those of you can go. The other can. Members of council, there'll be lunch later. So sorry for using your energy now. All right. All right. You can. That's enough. That's enough. So that people can take theirs and go. Thank you, man. Join them. Join them, please. Sorry. You can join them. Yes, you can join them. Sorry.
Am I going to show?
Yes. Last one, yes. Are we done with the photographs, please? Photographers, I can't see you. Okay, thank you. The second cluster, you can please go. The just gather behind them. Thank you. Yes, please. Thank you. A photographer, we're waiting for you, sir. Hello, sir, with the camera, black polo. Yes, please. All right, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. You may please return to your seats. Congratulations to seats. Thank you very much. Before we go to you're welcome, ma'am. Thank you very much for joining us. The Director General, you're welcome, ma'am. Thank you very much for joining us. The Director General, thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that are tech savvy like our chairman of today, as many pictures that you're to take, video take, please remember to post it on your social media platforms. Use the hashtag NES66. It's one word, like NES66, and you can tag the official handle of the Nigerian Economic Society, X, formerly known as Twitter, and the handle is at NES Nigeria, one word, NES Nigeria, one word. For the PhD thesis that they all get ready, but for the sake of recognition, University of Lagos, whose research is at Ozie Nwosu, and first position from University Ileshan Remo in Ogun State. I apologize for my Saharan Africa. This is none other than Habib Adetutu Omotola. So in no particular order, can we please have Charles Ayobola Olufolake from the Lagos quickly come forward? And as he or she is coming, Damian Chidozie Nwosu, please follow in quick succession, as well as Habib Adetutu Omotola. And while they are coming, I'd like to recognize the presence of Dr. Moses Tule. He's a former director of monetary policy at the Central Bank of Nigeria, and was one of the distinguished fellows that was invested last year. Thank you very much for joining us. You're welcome, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, please works. Ladies and gentlemen, they are clapping for you. So if you were walking, I expect you to run now. Oh, okay, you're here. Don't run anymore. You're here. So you can just, don't run, don't run. What you want to present? Has it been given to the media? Yes. Okay. Your name? Habib. Can we please have Habib Adetutu's slide on screen so that as she presents, you can see, the audience can see what she's talking about. Thank you. So, as soon as you're ready. Can you use this mic?
All right, thank you.
Or would you prefer this?
I think I can use both so that I can move. Thank you. Is the slide on? All right. All right, thank you. Is the slides on, please?
Gentlemen of the media, please, the presentation is for 15 minutes each. 15 minutes, and can we have that? This is Habib Adetutu Omotola. So let's have her presentation on, please. Thank you.
For having me, and God bless you all. I must also acknowledge the fact that I am quite nervous, but thank you. All right, so I want to apologize on behalf of NES for the error in my thesis title. The title of my thesis has nothing to do with insurgency, but rather it is income, food inflation, and human capital development in Nigeria. Again, I am Habib Adetutu Omotola. I want to walk you through my thesis. Human capital development has been established as a critical driver of economic growth in any country. And as such, every country is expected to commit significant investment in the development of their human capital. The two essential components of human capital is education and health, with one not better than the other. It is also a known fact that income promotes human capital development two true ways. One as a means and the other is a reward. However, in Nigeria, it's also an established fact that income can be, the capability of income to be able to achieve this role can be hampered by inflation. Inflation in Nigeria has been principally driven by food inflation. And as such, we have the scorecard for human capital development in Nigeria. I don't know if you can see the slides. Low ADHs. Nigeria has 0.54 out of 1, ranking about 163 out of 191 countries in 2019. Our GNN capital has remained relatively stable. GNN per capita, poor education indicators, and despite government effort, universal basic education, growth has somewhat become elusive. Public expenditure on education has been declining from 9.25% to 5.1% in 2021, far below the 26% recommendation by UNESCO. Because government is failing, private individuals are making up for that lapses. About 75% of total health expenditure in Nigeria is out of it. Same thing goes for education. If households are the major spender on education and health, anything that erodes income may leave lesser for education, for educating children and maintaining good health. So why this study? Most study on human capital development focus on determinant of HCD, with limited attention to household level factors. Nigeria poorly in HD high rankings, and high out-of-pocket spending on both education and health, and more experiences of people, which is often masked in numbers in the predominant quantitative study done by economists. And so we had 6 objectives. The first 4 is qualitative phase, which checks the impact of income on education and health, and the 2 last objective captured the qualitative phase. The research design and explanatory sequential design, we did a quantitative phase and then qualitative. The study was done in Nigeria, and the theory was the STEM capability. Data was collected from WDI and CBN. For the qualitative phase, sampling was done through multi-stage, and we software called VoiceForm and being assisted by artificial intelligence. The estimation for the quantitative was done using ARDL, and robustness check was done using the dynamic ordinary least square. For the qualitative phase, the data was using thematic analysis. Because of time, the result of the ARDL is not here, but that of DOLS, which is a robustness check, is here. And so, also that of the qualitative findings with 4 major themes: financial strain and budget constraint, school enrollment and prioritizing of education, healthcare affordability, and additional findings. Interesting. However, food is between into importance placed on education. And so regardless of the level of income, if a child was already in school, the chances that they will put out of school because food prices was going higher was lower. And so rather than doing that, household would some of them said they withdraw women capital development in Nigeria. What matters to us is it that the children are in school or that they are going to school with their full capability, eating, having resources that they should have per time. And for objectives 3, 4, and 6, we also found that income increases life expectancy quantitatively. With the qualitative phase, we found that people express significant constraint in being able to maintain the level of the dietary requirement, skipping meal, avoiding proteins and fruits, which are the ones that are highly unaffordable at the moment. Within the same capability approach, meal skipping, reducing food portions, postponing healthcare healthcare usage, not only reflects resource constraint, but deprives household of the freedom to achieve valued functions. With respect to other public expenditure was a significant contributor to school enrollment, which already in the qualitative findings, where households said they withdrew children from private school to go to public school. And this corroborates the fact that public investment in education enhances people's capability and gives them the freedom to live a well-valued life. In conclusion, we found that income is a significant and positive contributor to school enrollment, while it is a non-significant, while that of life expectancy is significant and a positive contributor. Food inflation contributes positively to both school enrollment and life expectancy in Nigeria. But when we observed the indirect effect of food inflation, we found that food inflation actually limits the capability of income to achieve that purpose. While public expenditure on health is a recommendation. Based on this finding, we would recommend that policymakers should integrate strategies to reduce food inflation alongside efforts to increase income. This includes initiatives such as local milling, backyard farming, cooperative storage facilities to give household greater agency to secure nutritious food. Also, the Ministry of Health needs to explore means of addressing bottlenecks. Unlike in the case of public investment in education, where people said they went to public schools, they did that, there was people didn't have that as packages in our study. Household should consolidate on the hanging opportunity for household farming, because a lot of people who were able to cope actually were producing their own food, especially protein themselves. In addition, programs to encourage the diversification of income sources to expand household freedom to sustain essential expenditure such as food, health, and education without harmful trade-offs should be contributing to knowledge. Theoretically, we have included the food inflation as a moderating factor to extend the same capacity. Methodologically, this study has demonstrated the relevance of mixed method in economic research. For instance, the hidden inequality in enrollment figures would have been marked in just the quantitative findings. We have also provided empirical evidence on how inflation weakens the income HCD link. Because of time, there's so much to say, but we have included you can scan this barcode to please read, share, and cite an article which is already accepted by Elsevier for publication and for possible collaborations and all. I must also acknowledge that although my work was, the qualitative part of my PhD thesis was done in Ogun State, but the work received a faculty grant by the Babcock University through the research office to extend the study to Nigeria. And that's why we have a comprehensive report that was submitted for publication. Thank you very much. I do not take this for granted. God bless you.
Please, another round of applause for Mrs. Habiba. We'd like to sincerely apologize that it took a little while before the presentation came on screen. We're having a little technical difficulty. If we could please have that last part on the screen, where the barcode is, where the QR code is, pardon me. The QR code, can we have Ladies and gentlemen, once the QR code is back on, just go to your camera in your phone and then point that at the QR code. You can scan and get the full thesis to read at your own time and leisure. Are we still having difficulties with that, please? Okay, so we can take it when we come back. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I'll invite Mr. Damian Chidozie Nwosu from the University of Ibadan, who will be using the next 10 minutes to tell us about his research. The timer will be... Put your hands together for him as he comes forward.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Damian Chidozie Nwosu from the University of Ibadan. First of all, I want to thank the Department of Economics, University of Ibadan, for giving me the platform to excel. Precisely, my supervisor, Professor Emeritus Ojide, Dr. Sam Orekoya, Dr. Adeni Itosin. I am grateful to all of you for making it possible for me to be here. The title of my presentation of my thesis is Trade and Financial Openness and the Efficiency of the Nigerian Stock Market. Sorry, my slide is trying to come up, but I will be making use of this. Through an extensive search in the literature, I discovered that most studies about the efficiency of the Nigerian stock market are all saying that the market is inefficient. So my motivation was then to find out why is it inefficient and what can be done to solve the problem of inefficiency in the stock market. Then, through also the research in the literature, I also discovered that trade openness has a big role to play in the efficiency of stock markets, looking at other climes. So looking at that, I saw a need to be able to replicate such study in Nigeria and then find a way to help address the issues discovered in the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Then, because the market is also into sectors, and I know that any investment that comes into the stock market comes through the sectors. Therefore, I also look at it in terms of the sectors to be able to find out where the problem is and how it can be addressed. So these are my motivations. Then the problem, what are the problems? The issues I discovered that cause the inefficiency in the market: one, the illiquidity, making it difficult to buy and sell shares in the stock market. I also saw the problem of manipulations of the exchange, and then deliberate infractions of the rules of the exchange. Who are those do that? So I became conscious. How do we solve this problem? What can trade openness do? That is why now I look at trade openness. Trade openness allows investors, foreign investors, opportunity to bring in their investment into the economy. And because of that investment, they solve the problem of illiquidity. Because they are coming in with their investments, they also come in with their technical know-how. That created a gap then on both the sector and in the long run to be able to address, the issues, the objectives. So, in all, I will be my work has to do with about 18 models. Next slide. So, from the laptop is not coming up. I'm trying to use this. Please, the next slide. So, the method I use ALDL. Specifically, the reasons for that was based on data. Having looked at the data, I discovered that they're all I1 and I. That informed my choice of ALDL. So looking at the models, the first model has to do with trade openness. Second one has to do with financial openness. Then the third model has to do with inputting the two key objectives into one model. Because some studies have shown that trade openness cannot be able to impact the efficiency of the market if there is no openness in the financial sector. And then other works also that it is also possible that when put together, different results may come up, and that may give us opportunity to have different policies, to be able to help solve the issues of the. So we are like I said, I used ALDL. The processes are there. Please, next slide, please. Looking at the issues of long run, short run. These models represent the long and short run to be able to determine whether we have a short run analysis or long run analysis. The next slide, please. Please, the next slide, please. So this is the error correction model. Assuming there's a long-run relationship, the next slide represents the error correction model that we will be estimating to be able to know how the issues are able to be corrected in the long run. Starting for the results, we look at the unit rules. The unit rules for the result, we saw that the results are I1, so that has given us the impetus to be able to adopt the ARDA that we have used in this analysis. So our work covers between 2010 and 2020. Within that period, Nigeria entered into recession. So we saw the possibility of a structural break. Then we had to, so that we can be able, so looking at that, we did a structural break analysis. And we saw that there were issues in 2016 second quarter. That was exactly when Nigeria entered into recession. So that shows that recession of 2016 had impact on our work, and we had to model it into our. If you look at our model, we see where we included D, that the dominant variable that captures the issues that we have discovered. So the results, co-integration analysis, the bound test showed that 14 out of the 18 models we ran have long-run relationships, and they informed our choice of the next slide, the next result. So from so you can see that the critical values are higher than the the F statistics at I1. That shows that they are all we have a long-run issue to a long relationship to run. Please, the next result, please. So this is the result for financial openness. Our principal variable here is the FOP. And our dependent variable is variance ratio -1. That is that particular result. What the dependent variable and the variable. What that means is that if we have a negative relationship here, the relationship with the efficiency will be positive. So from this result, we can see that what we have here, that the financial openness has a positive relationship with all share index. That is the variance that shows that in the result proper, it has a negative relationship with efficiency. That means it does not encourage the efficiency of the stock market. Look at the sectors too. The results are also like that, and they are not also significant. That is in the short run for financial. Then when we go to the long run, the long run also shows that financial openness has negative relationship with variance ratio -1, and invariable it means that it has a negative relationship with efficiency of the stock market in the long run. So it doesn't encourage efficiency. That's what it shows in our analysis here. Please, the next result, the next slide, please. So we are trying to this are post-estimation analysis to be able to show whether our model is fit or not. And from the results, on the average, our model is very fit. So let's go to the next slide, please. So this is for trade openness. The trade openness shows that trade openness has negative impact on variance ratio -1, and invariably it means that it has a positive relationship with efficiency. You can see that from our objectives, financial openness has a different impact on efficiency of the stock market, from that what trade openness has. So this is so that our aim our main objective is achieved. It shows that but financial openness has a different result, and while the has a different impact on efficiency. We also look at, we can see dummy variable that which help to model what happened during the 2016 recession. You can see that it has a positive impact on efficiency, meaning that that recession of 2016 has a negative relationship, has a negative impact on the efficiency of the stock market. So it didn't help us, that efficiency, that particular period, a lot of firms have for the stock market, and that caused a lot of havoc in the market. And if we look at it for the short run, our model is, we look at it for the ECM. The ECM has the right sign, and also it has also significant at 1%. So let's look at the next slide. In the long run, the trade openness also continued with its positive relationship with efficiency, and dummy variable also continued to generate the same negative results it showed. The next slide, please. So this is also the test. The test showed that the models are on the average very strong, and then good, and then proceed to the next slide, please. Then when we combined the two principal variables, trade openness and financial openness in the model, what we saw is that there is an improvement in the relationship between financial openness and then the efficiency of the stock market. What that means that openness to be able to operate very well, that's also need for the trade sector to be opened. And we look at the ECM shows that the model is fit and also has the right significance level. The next, please. So, please, the next slide, please. In the long run, the results also show that financial openness also, is becoming stronger compared to what it used to be when it was alone in a singular model. So trade openness has a lot of influence for financial openness to be able to operate very well in the stock market. So the dominant variable also is consistent with the result. Good to go. The next slide, please. The post-inspection analysis also show that the models are very fit. Okay, fine. These are fine. Okay, please, the next slide. So, what do we contribute to knowledge? One, our ab initio, we set out to find out how trade openness and financial openness are able to impact on the stock exchange. Our work is able to show that financial openness does not encourage the efficiency of the stock market. Why trade openness does that? So the contributor was able to achieve its aim of looking at how these variables impact on the stock exchange. Then financial openness also can show that it has a negative relationship with efficiency, while trade openness has a positive relationship with the stimulus. And when they are put together, it shows that trade openness has a lot of influence for financial openness to be able to impact the efficiency of the market. There's need also for the trade sector to be opened. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Another round of applause for Damien Dozier Nwosu. Ladies and gentlemen, in the course of the program, we forgot to announce to you, if you need to use any of the restrooms, please, you can just call on any of the ushers, or if you want to find it yourself, just outside of this exit and straight down, you can find it. Is playing tricks on you. There's a medical bay just outside here that you can visit. There are competent doctors that are on ground to attend to you. If you need to make use of any of these facilities, kindly signal to any of the ushers and they'll lead you there. Thank you very much. And now for the third and final presentation, we have none other than Charles Ayobola Olufolake from the University of Lagos. Please put your hands together for her as she comes forward. The presenter is to note that she has just 10 minutes, so please make sure and always consult the screen to your left. Thank you.
And distinguished ladies and gentlemen, existing protocol. My name is Ayobola Olufolake Charles. The title of my thesis is Natural Resources, Export Diversification and Productivity among resource-rich African countries. My supervisors are Professor to enhancing productivity, especially when utilized efficiently. When these resources are efficiently utilized, they are key to supporting economic growth, they are key to enhancing productivity and also increasing development. And then we also understand the fact that export diversification helps to boost productivity, and this also enables countries that are rich in natural resources to reduce their reliance on the resource sector. It helps to expand technology and sustain economic development. However, many resource-rich African nations struggle to utilize their natural resources to drive dynamic growth, leading to low productivity. And this low productivity is seen in declining agricultural productivity in most of these resource-rich African countries. It also leads to high importation of food products. There is also evidence of low manufacturing productivity and also low share of manufacturing productivity. Of course, this low level of manufacturing productivity may be connected to their over-dependence on these natural resources. And this over-dependence is seen on the high Affindal-Eshman index of the African nations. And so this study seeks to analyze the effect of natural resources on productivity among resource-rich African. It also seeks to investigate the effect of natural resources on export diversification among resource-rich African countries. It seeks to examine the role that export diversification plays with respect to the natural resource productivity nexus among resource-rich African countries, and then it also wants to test the validity of the Dutch disease theory via the spending effect among the resource-rich African countries. The significance of this study is seen because it aligns with the objectives of the African Continental Free Trade Area, whereby resource-rich countries can leverage on the largest free trade area in the world. It also aligns with the African Union Agenda 2063 goal and the SDG 8 and 9. The gap seen is that there is a link. The link between the natural resources and productivity is scanty in literature. Also, the study focuses on the productivity of manufacturing and agricultural productive sectors to avoid aggregation bias. Previous studies looked at aggregate productivity, and then another gap is to focus on the mediating effects of export diversification in the natural resource productivity nexus. The scope of the study focuses on 21 resource-rich African countries. It covers the period between 1995 to 2020. The estimation technique used is the pooled mean group estimator because it accommodates heterogeneous panels, and then of course we have data from Penn World Table, USDA, WDA, and WTO. Findings from Objective 1 shows that natural resource has a negative but significant impact on total food factor productivity, on manufacturing productivity, but had a positive impact on agricultural productivity. Findings from Objective 2 shows that 67% of the resource-rich African countries that were studied had a high Affinda-Hirschman index, which means that their export product is concentrated. That means the export diversification is very low. Findings from Objective 3 shows that natural resource had a negative impact on export diversification. Findings on Objective 4 shows that the interaction of natural resource and export diversification had a positive and significant impact on total productivity, manufacturing productivity, and agricultural productivity. The discussion and summary of findings. Nigerian natural resources boosted agricultural productivity, but worsened manufacturing productivity. And it also worsens overall economy, which confirms the resource cost. 67% of the nations were less diversified. And the implication of this is terms of trade decline, revenue fluctuation, macroeconomic shocks, and then poor growth. Natural resource the earnings also discourages export diversification. The interactive effect of export diversification and natural resource mitigates the resource cost. And then, of course, the presence of natural resource leads to exchange rate appreciation, worsening competitiveness of the manufacturing sector among the resource-rich nations studied. The recommendation: the resource earnings should be channeled into the manufacturing sector in order to increase and to sustain productivity. Also, there should be establishment of special production zones, tax and tariff reliefs, and which can boost export diversification. Then for countries that are suffering from the Dutch disease should observe the sterilization method, such as increasing reserve requirements, easing capital outflow restriction. The contribution to knowledge is that this study established that natural resources enhances agricultural productivity but retard manufacturing productivity in the 21 resource-rich nations studied. The study computed an index of export diversification, which is a better measure of a diversified export than manufactured exports to total exports, which is often used in literature. And also, the study identified that 33% of the resource-rich nations are diversified. This study established that large resource earnings are a disincentive to export diversification. Why? Because resource-rich African nations that rake in huge earnings from these natural resources relax with respect to export diversification and are content to be monoproduct exporting nations. The study established that the strength of export diversification in reversing the resource cost in resource-rich African in the resource-rich African countries. And this brings export diversification as a mediator With export diversification, the resource cost can be reversed in these resource-rich African nations. And the study also conceptualized a framework that encapsulates the links among natural resources, export diversification, and productivity. Thank you so much.
A round of applause once more for our 3 finalists. Thank you so much for those very insightful presentations. So right now, we want to give everyone a time to network, to take a break, and to relax. Okay, just one moment, please. For the president of the NES to give us a few remarks on the recent presentation.
Yeah, thank you so very much. I want us to just appreciate these 3 finalists. Last year, we also had an event like this. 2 of the 3 finalists, 2 were men. One was a lady, and the 2 of them came from ABU. And the interesting thing was that those 2, we had a sponsor last year, and part of the condition was that, which the CC said that was the story of the Economies of Africa, that they were going to give fellowship to those, to those finalists. And in addition to that, they also had cash prizes. So what we want to do is to really exhibit, this knowledge, contributions that are going in our universities. And I don't know whether Professor Alega is here, because we received over 200, I think they look at over 200 theses. The submissions were over 200. Okay, and we have very eminent professors that went through all of these theses, and then they shortlisted, went through a lot of rigorous exercise to get finalists. And today, so do you want to come and speak about the process, or that's just the stuff? Okay. So there were over 200 of 2 of them. Women, please, let's just clap for women. So these 3 people that you saw today are doctors already now because they have defended their thesis. So they are not just these are big people now. And later on today, during the award, we're going to announce, the winner. So the order of presentation to this afternoon was totally relevant to what the outcome is. So we know the result already. The result and the prizes given. Actually, to this year, a foundation is giving 1 million naira to the winners. So we formally presented to them at the award. And our hope is that we'll discuss with, council members were suggesting, central bank or this organization should just take these people. These are very important, very big, and the CBN and other organizations should actually be able to, to harness, some of these brilliant minds. In fact, our plan, yes, CBN organizations, please, if you want to fund, because, those who went to play football collected $100,000 each. A plot of land and many other things, enough, So, we need to start encouraging our intellectuals, So we appeal to organizations. We have this platform. Some people also discussing with us, they want to introduce maybe at master's level. So maybe subsequently, the NES was also this kind of event for masters because some people are interested in at that level. So I want to thank them very, very much for what they've done. And then I hope next year, some of the people at the PhD levels who are at this conference will be here to present, their own report. So just as IMC was trying to say, because many of us are over 30 years, what doctor says that when you sit for 2.5 hours, you should work. And so we're going to have a break. And And after that, Mr. Rewane is going to make a presentation. So we'll go for a break now, and we'll convene back at 2 o'clock. Thank you very much. Or maybe you do it very hard. Sorry.
All right, thank you so much, sir. So yes, as the president has said, we have been given a time to network or ensure you get contacts of people. You know, some of the most important things happen off stage, some of the most important conversations. So ensure you make contacts, stretch your legs, and we will reconvene at media. If we could have a little bit of music interlude while we're all networking, just a little light music in the background. Thank you so much. I mean, you're not leaving anyways, but we'll be down by 2 p.m. All right, much.
quite interesting, sir. Okay,
interesting your subjects.